I'm Tom Norris from the Hagen Ranch Branch Library of the Palm Beach County Library System. For this year's Banned Book Week, I've chosen John Knowles' 1959 novel, A Separate Piece. It's been challenged for use in public school systems as recently as 1996, mainly for reasons of language. A challenge in 1980 in a New York State school district dubiously described it as a filthy, trashy sex novel. I first read the book on my own when I was a teenager, a well-worn mass-market copy given to me by a friend attending a New England prep school, similar to the setting of the book, which is, in fact, based on the author's alma mater, Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire. If The Catcher in the Rye, also frequently banned or challenged, has been described as a landmark coming-of-age comedy, A Separate Piece is a landmark coming-of-age tragedy, both being listed in the Radcliffe Top 100 Novels of the 20th Century. I've read it several times, most recently earlier this year. The tragic elements become more poignant with each reading. In this passage, the two principal characters of the novel, the Devon School students Gene, the book's narrator, and his more adventurous athletic roommate Finney, or Phineas, have broken the rules and risked expulsion by bicycling to an ocean beach town some distance away from campus. We reached the beach late in the afternoon. The tide was high and the surf was heavy. I dived in and rode a couple of waves, but they had reached that stage of power in which you could feel the whole strength of the ocean in them. The second wave, as it tore toward the beach, spewed me a little ahead of it, encroaching rapidly. Suddenly it was immeasurably bigger than I was. It rushed me from the control of gravity and took control of me itself. The wave threw me down in a primitive plunge without a bottom. Then there was a bottom, grinding sand, and I skidded onto the shore. I made my way up on the beach and lay down. Finney came, ceremoniously took my pulse, and then went back into the ocean. He stayed in an hour, breaking off every few minutes to come back to me and talk. The sand was so hot from the all-day sunshine that I had to brush the top layer away in order to lie down on it, and Finney's progress across the beach became a series of high, startled leaps. The ocean, throwing up foaming sun sprays across some nearby rocks, was winter cold. This kind of sunshine and ocean, with the accumulating roar of the surf and the salty, adventurous, flirting wind from the sea, always intoxicated Phineas. He was everywhere. He enjoyed himself hugely. He laughed out loud at passing seagulls. And he did everything he could think of for me. We had dinner at a hot dog stand with our backs to the ocean and its now cooler wind, our faces towards the heat of the cooking range. Then we walked on toward the center of the beach, where there was a subdued New England strip of honky-tonks. The boardwalk lights against the deepening blue sky gained an ideal, starry beauty, and the lights from the belt of honky-tonks and shooting galleries and beer gardens gleamed with a quiet purity in the clear twilight. Finney and I went along the boardwalk in our sneakers and white slacks. Finney in a light blue polo shirt and I in a t-shirt. I noticed that people were looking fixedly at him, so I took a look myself to see why. His skin radiated a reddish copper glow of tan. His brown hair had been a little bleached by the sun, and I noticed the tan made his eyes shine with a cool blue-green fire. "Everybody's staring at you," he suddenly said to me. "It's because of that movie star tan you picked up this afternoon, showing off again." Enough broken rules were enough that night. Neither of us suggested going into any of the honky-tonks or beer gardens. We did have one glass of beer each at a fairly respectable-looking bar, convincing or seeming to convince the bartender that we were old enough by a show of forged draft cards. Then we found a good spot among some sand dunes at the lonely end of the beach, and there we settled down to sleep for the night. The last words of Finney's usual nighttime monologue were, "I hope you're having a pretty good time here. I know I kind of dragged you away at the point of a gun, but, after all, you can't come to the shore with just anybody, and you can't come by yourself. And at this teenage period in life, the proper person is your best pal." He hesitated, and then added, "Which is what you are." And there was a silence on his dune. It was a courageous thing to say. Exposing a sincere emotion nakedly like that at the Devon School was the next thing to suicide. I should have told him then that he was my best friend also, and rounded off what he had said. I started to. I nearly did. But something held me back. Perhaps I was stopped by that level of feeling deeper than thought, which contains the truth. John Knowles, 1959, A Separate Piece.